All right, welcome everyone. This cool, to say the least, January 19th, 2017 for our first Silicon Valley Health Institute meeting for the year. And welcome everyone who's watching in a live stream or video. And we want to just open up with just a couple of announcements, housekeeping, so to speak. Restrooms. We're going to, if you need to at any time, just step out. The restrooms are off to this side and going down the hall about 3. Anyway, you'll see them. Just go straight down the side here, and you'll see the restrooms clearly noted. It's a little walk, maybe, yeah, about 100 yards. Yeah, so not too bad. So if you do need to go urgently, take that into account so that you're not doing a 100-yard dash faster than you safely should be. So anyway, and also. I just want to mention that Silicon Valley Health Institute, we are a nonprofit organization, and so donations are welcomed. And we also have yearly membership fees, $60 a year or $10 per meeting. The $60 a year membership fee does cover 12 meetings for a year. So if you want to come in person, then that's a great deal, $60 a year. And the focus of the Silicon Valley Health Institute is to provide for evidence-based, scientific-based, natural methods for optimizing your health and in increasing information so that you can make well-informed health choices. So, our speakers for today I will announce in a moment, but one of the things that we customarily do here at Silicon Valley Health Institute is that we like to have a time as far as a forum. This used to be called Smart Life Forum. So it's a time for sharing and getting information out or interesting things that you have read, health-related information you've read, even research studies, and you want to share that with the group, then this is the time to do so. And to stimulate your thinking, I'm just going to be sharing. Oh, I didn't introduce who I am. My name is Dr. Douglas Husbands. I am a chiropractor, certified clinical nutritionist, and functional medicine doctor. Have been in practice for going on 27 years now. Most of what I do is it's a functional medicine approach, and it's as a chiropractor also. It's I was just talking with somebody saying you really can't turn off your functional medicine thinking, because once you've been exposed to that, you can't go back. It's kind of like in the Matrix where you get the pill that, I forget whether it was the red or the blue pill, but anyway, the pill that opens your eyes up to the reality, and so you can't go back to sleep and think everything is fine. Functional medicine, it really looks at the underlying processes involved in health and disease. And so as a chiropractor, sometimes when people come in to see me just for chiropractic and they're having pain here and there, I'm thinking, okay, what is the underlying cause or causes of this, and why is this happening? So it's kind of like, well, I have to limit it to the chiropractic thing, but I always tell them, you know, there may be another underlying process or cause going on here, which is causing the problem. And one of the things that is critical, starting our forum till 7:30, that has been in a plethora of journals, is on gut health and the microbiome, and a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight. there is so much research that it's just explosive regarding the microbiome, that is the microflora, the microbiota of the gut, and how greatly that influences our thinking, our just all aspects of our health. And so with that, has anyone read or have a question or a comment on anything related to the microbiome or gut issues or any other issues in particular?
I've been been tracking down, looking for causes for skipped heartbeats, and been working on a couple ideas. So if anybody have any ideas on what to look at in diet or exercise or whatever to reduce the number of skipped heartbeats. They don't seem to be very symptomatic. I mean, I exercise and I could see that they're happening, but like some clues on what to look at. And it may be food sensitivity, it may be something else.
Anyone want to provide any input on that?
I think one of the things that is always good to look at when you're dealing with a nervous system muscle connection is electrolytes. So you'd have your primary monoelectrolytes, sodium, potassium, that kind of ratio. You'd have your divalent cations, magnesium, calcium ratio, and then you might have an anion issue with chloride or phosphorus or something like that. So I think that that would be something to examine. Sodium, potassium, and calcium. Yeah, and an imbalance of any of those could alter the way in which the nervous system sends signals. Yeah. Yeah.
I just a little bit. I suspected there might have been a electrolyte, but how to actually change it is, I think, what I have to look at. You know, because reading the journal articles, you don't want to take much potassium to get your ratio potassium to sodium in its native form. You want it, but so there's some issues that I am a little bit cautious about. So, thank you.
Yes.
What about the liquid minerals? They're called humetic and fulvial, is it? The fulvic, thank you, fulvic minerals. That are they related to the electrolytes, and do they help with alkalinization and electrolyte balance?
Minerals, I mean, you can look at electrolytes as another name for them would be macro minerals. Minerals that are present in very high levels. But they're also micronutrient minerals like copper and zinc and iron and chromium and things like that. So, but it's not been my observation that those are as central to the issue of the nervous system function. You know, signals that get sent down nervous system, axons and dendrites are based on a mineral polarity across the membrane. So the cell pumps out an ion, and then when the nerve fires, it allows the ion to flow back in again, and then it has to pump it out. So you can either have energy malfunctions with that pumping action, or you can have competition issues. If it's pumping calcium with a magnesium deficiency, it takes twice as much energy. So those kinds of issues are, I would say, primary to the issue. And if you've got a situation where you can detect these things, you know, you wear a monitor or have some kind of a wristwatch or something that's telling you when these things happen, and it's predictable. You know when it's going to happen. Not like, let's say, a migraine that's going to happen once every 3 months and you can't predict it, where it's difficult to study. But these things, if they're repetitive and they're common, all you have to do is look to see what makes them increase or decrease in frequency.
Just going on with this, looking deeper. Also, Also, am I on? Okay. Also, the factor is absorbability of minerals. If there's some issue going on with the gut, and you're not absorbing minerals or other nutrients, that's a factor. And more and more, the longer and longer I'm in practice, one of the things I do on just about everybody now is I look at gut permeability and the integrity of the gastrointestinal tract lining, because that drastically influences absorption of nutrients. So that's a big factor also. In fact, both of our speakers, one will be speaking about what is the food sensitivity and why does it matter, and our other speaker will be speaking about updates on the gut-brain connection, and I'm certain, are going to be talking a lot about gut function and optimizing gut function. So anyway, within these forums, yes.
Okay, it was about the heartbeat skipping. I used to have an anxiety disorder, and I also used to have a cardiograph where I could see the skipping, and I could feel it. And then deep relaxation and good nutrition, like minerals, are very important to relax you. So thank you.
Given what you just said about looking at the gut permeability and the integrity of the gut, I would hope that you or one of the other speakers would describe how you actually evaluate those specifically with individuals.
That will certainly be addressed, yes.
In regards to the skipping of the heart, if referring to an arrhythmia, there is a nerve called the vagus nerve which exits the brainstem, and the left vagus nerve will determine the rate of the heart, and the right vagus nerve will determine the rhythm of the heart. Individuals that have a so-called skip of the heart may be describing an arrhythmia in which the right vagus system is dominating the left vagus system. Now, certainly electrolytes are very important for frequency firing in the nervous system. However, when there's a rapid heart rate called tachycardia or an arrhythmia, which could be a skipped heartbeat, there may be an asymmetry by which those structures fire. So any nutrition that will affect the frequency of firing of that system could be useful. It's just a matter of determining with a history when these events occur, so we know if it's related to food, if it's related to electrolytes, if it's related to blood sugar, if it's related to oxygen delivery to the tissue, if it's related to infection. The onset, the progression, and the timing of the skipping of the heart will determine the appropriate nutritional intervention.
And with that good explanation by Dr. Joseph Smith, our first speaker, who is also a chiropractic neurologist, I very much appreciate your input there. So I'm sure we all do. So other comments, topics, questions? If not, I'm going to mention, oh, more, okay.
Thinking of the two topics, which is food sensitivity and the gut-brain connection, I would want to know more about how it can affect kids with autism. And talking about the microbiome, I've read a little bit here and there that that is playing a big role in giving the signals to the brain, which in a case of an autistic kid doesn't do better than a neurotypical kid. So I would love to know more about it. Thank you.
Yeah, just comment regarding that. Autism has, I've read a number of articles that have clearly shown that autistic kids, their microbiome is aberrant to non-autistic kids, and so that is a big factor in that. So, and you can measure that. There are various tests that can be done, especially now there's a lot more DNA-based stool tests by various laboratories that are very helpful for determining the specific bacteria of the between 100 and 400 trillion total primarily bacteria in the GI tract. Now, the research studies previously, they said it was only about 100 trillion. Well, I've read some other research studies that are now saying it's between 100 and 400 trillion. It's a lot. So anyway, your microbiome drastically, with autism especially, is very much, has a lot to do with that. So other comments, questions? So if not, I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just let me introduce the main speaker. Bob, is there anything I'm forgetting as far as housekeeping or? Oh, yeah. Any announcements for upcoming events that you'd like to share with the group? If not, at that, I will go ahead and introduce our first speaker.